morning, viewers. Now we will be presenting to you the organic way of making fertilizer. We are now here in the town of Cabinti, in the province of Laguna. This town is situated in between Pagsanghan in Louisiana, also in the province of Laguna, Philippines. Now we will be presenting to you how to make fish emulsion, or sometimes they call fish amino acid. But I rather prefer to call it fish emulsion, since the word acid would mislead other viewers that it contains some acid which is very harmful to the soil and to the plants. Now, we will be making here, let's say we call fish emulsion, made up of fish coming from the salt water or from the sea, which I rather prefer because of abundant variety of fish. In this manner, we will be showing to you the proportion of making this fertilizer. Now we have here 1 kilo of fish. We have the bigger one. We have the fish head, and we have the smaller one, and some fish intestine, some gills, or mostly parts of the fish. We have the scale, we have the bones, and some other parts of the fish which could not be utilized by the consumer. Now we have here molasses taken from the residue of in sugar factory. Now we have some solution which are already ready-made. These are we have the fruit juice extract, different kinds of fruit juice, and we have this fish emulsion which is already made. Now, in this presentation, we will just be presenting to you a smaller, for beginners, a smaller proportion which you can expand later on. When you have successfully made this small portion, then you can shift to a bigger volume. From a small container up to, you can use the drum or plastic drum. Now, the function of these ingredients is to ferment the fish parts and make it into an organic fertilizer. Now, for every kilo of fish parts or fish, then you will use 1 kilo of this molasses, or the residue from the sugar factory. Now, in this proportion, this is something like variable. This is up to the maker of the fish emulsion to make his own combination, but it should not be under measurement, because the function of this molasses is very important in the fermentation of fish parts. Since fish is bound to be spoiled, molasses is the only solution that we can use as a preservative. Although molasses is in itself a fertilizer, this will enhance the development of the microorganism in the fish or fish parts. Now, during the fermentation process, molasses would react with the fish parts to develop the microorganism. Now, with these measured parts, we have the 1 kilo fish clippings, or we call fish parts, and we have the molasses, which you will have to mix with the fish parts. It should be mixed thoroughly for the first time. You have to mix this because all the parts of the fish should be, it should be had been mixed with the sugar content of the molasses. This is a very good preservative for making this fish emulsion. Now this bigger part, this is just to show you that any size could be used. You have to chop this as long as this is divided into several pieces, so that it could be easily fermented while you are processing this. Now, this intestine or the internal parts, you have to chop this into small pieces, but not so small. And this fish head, it could be as is, or you have to chop this into some small pieces. Now, we have already mixed the molasses, and to make it easy for the fermentation, you have to use the EM1 solution. This EM1 solution is being used to develop the microorganism in this process so that the fermentation would be a very short time. Now, EM sometimes is hard to find because usually here we have to travel to Manila just to buy this liter of EM, which is effective microorganism. Now, I will show you the easiest way. If you are very far from Manila, the easiest way to ferment or to make this fish emulsion. Now, you can use the already processed fish emulsion, which you can buy from your friend who are already processing this organic fertilizer, or you have to secure for yourself to attain this solution. This ready-made fish emulsion mixed with the new batch. This is to start quickly the process of fermentation because this is already developed one. That means microorganisms are already here. Some fertilizer elements are already here. You can mix this in the new batch of your fertilizer. There is no measurement for this as long as you have the available solution, then you can use it up either in this 1 kilo proportion, you can use at least 1 liter or more. Now, to further the fermentation of the solution, we have also here the fermented fruit juice. This fermented fruit juice is composed of different kinds of fruits, the skin, some overripe banana, and other fruits are already mixed to this, and any kind of fruits you can use. Now this is now the filtered solution, and you can use this also to speed up the fermentation. Now, when this is already mixed, you can put this in a container. It is not required that it should be tightly closed because our fermentation here is what we call aerobic, meaning air should get inside the container and out of the container. If this is anaerobic, it means no air is coming in or no air is coming out. But in this process, it is better to use the aerobic fermentation. Now, fish emulsion, we have two kinds of processing. One is, now what we are doing here is the cold process, meaning no heat is applied. So all the elements in your material is available or it is present in your finished product. But if it is a heat process which some factory are using, then some elements are being lost. Now, in some other organic liquid fertilizer maker, they get their fish clippings or fish parts from some pharmaceutical company. Pharmaceutical company are just after the fat in the oil in the fish, which they use in their cosmetic industry. But so in this way, the waste from the cosmetic factory is being brought by both by this fertilizer factory, and they apply heat to extract some leftover elements. So this liquid fertilizer, which undergoes the heat process, some elements are lost. That's why we can call that it is not that complete. But in the cold process, the elements, all the elements which are present in the process will remain in this manner. Now, your solution now, you have to transfer this in a container with cover. Cover just to avoid this fly to lay on your solution. Because the fly, when they lay on this solution, usually they would lay their eggs. And after just a few hours or a day, then maggots will appear. Although maggots are not detrimental to the effect of your solution, but it is somehow not pleasing to see that some maggots are developed in your solution. Although they can also share in the fertilizer effect of your fish emulsion. Now, the solution, when this is already in your container, should be mixed at least 3 times a day. That is, I do this in the first 15 days because the solution should always be mixed so that all these fish parts would be bathed with the molasses and some other solution which you have applied. Now, in the first 2 weeks of your processing, you have to remove this. There are some fish parts which we call this bladder, air bladder, which contains some air. Now, this one are with, just a moment, I will take some sample. Okay. Now this is the one which I am telling you, the gallbladder of the fish. This usually contains some air. This is to make the fish float. Now, these gallbladders, if this will not, you will not be removing the air inside, this will always float in your container. Now, this being always on top of the mixture would usually contribute to the bad smell of the process, in the process. So, what you have to do is to remove the air inside. Cut it with a scissor or any sharp instrument. Now you will see that the air has been removed inside, so the tendency of this is to always remain under the solution. Now, as time passes by, the solid parts would disintegrate, and you will observe that what would remain are mostly some solid parts in the process. Now, when this is already finished in the fermentation, it would take you 1.5 months or up to 2 months. which is the solution is ready for use. Now, there are some times that in 1 month time, the fish emulsion is ready for use. The one way of determining that the solution is almost done is when you mix the solution in 1 or 2 days time, some fungi develop on top of the container. That means that the solution is already neutralized, ready for use, and you can filter the solution removing all these solid parts, which you can use also as another fertilizer. You can use this around your fruit trees, mostly in fruit trees or in your ornamental plants. Or you can use this again as a starter for your next new batch of fish emulsion. So there is no waste in this process. Either you can use this now, after fermentation, you can use the solid parts, directly bury this to your plants, fruit trees, or you can save some which you can mix in your new solution. So this is a continuous process. Now, in my observation, I have put aside some solution and observed this, how long it will last. My experiment was that it had lasted for 5 years. It did not deteriorate. Only the top part of the container becomes solidified, but the smell is not that rotten smell. The fish smell would always remain. I don't have any way to remove the fish smell, since these are made mostly of fish and fish parts, so it would always smell fishy. But anyhow, in my preference, liquid fertilizer, for me, because I am using this, it is more easy to use, because liquid usually, or this will incorporate into the soil microorganism, and in a very short time it could be used by your plants. Not like the solid organic, which is from the worms. The solid fertilizer would take some time to incorporate in the soil. Now, we will show you also some other liquid fertilizer which we are making, and some parts the solid fertilizer. Now we have here the bigger quantity, and at 100 liters drum. Now this is a 1 day old solution or mixture, and I will be using the manual mixing. Now this is the paddle that I will be using. wooden paddle. It should be long enough so that you can go to the deepest part of the solution. Now you have to mix this so that there would be an even mixture or this would have even mixture of the solution with the fish parts. Now we will mix this solution that we have used before. Now I have said before that your solution should be mixed at least 3 times a day. Now I'll be showing to you the bigger quantity of the fish emulsion that we have prepared previously. Now I am holding here a wooden paddle which I will use for mixing this solution. It should be, the handle should be long enough so that it would be easy for me to apply the force in mixing this solution. It should be long enough that I could reach the bottom parts of the container, and at least what is in the deepest part would come out on top of the mixture. Now the one which we have shown to you for demonstration is I will mix it here now. And as I have said before, it should be mixed at least 3 times or more in one day. It should be mixed more than, if you can do it, more than 3 times, so that the solution that we have mixed with the fish parts should thoroughly saturate the fish clippings. Now, when it comes to mixing this, the bottom part should be reached by your mixing paddle, and you have to make some rotating motion that the bottom parts would come out on top of the drum. This is a 100-liter drum, which is very convenient to process this fish emulsion. Now, here in the second drum, we have the solution of fish emulsion which are already fermented. This is now the liquid one, ready for use. You will see that it is little bit, we can say this is the concentrated form after filtration, and this is what you will get. Now, from time to time, your finished product should also be mixed at least once a day, so that the residue or some small particles which settle down would come up in your mixture. are here in this mixture. This is what we call this fermented fruit juice. The prime ingredients of this are mostly different kinds of bananas, ripe bananas. Now we are after here the potassium and the phosphorus content of the fruit. Now, to make it something different, all the fruits could be mixed with this solution. Now, this is now almost finished. This has been for the last 2 months, and we are using here what we call the mixer. Now the purpose of this mixer, which we use here, is to mix the bottom parts to go up and blend well with the different extract from the different kinds of fruits. This mixture could also be used in the fish emulsion process. This solution as we've presented to you before, that we've mixed this in our fish emulsion. So our fish emulsion is made up of 3 ingredients. You will see that the consistency of the liquid is somewhat thick. Now we will explain to you how what would be the proportion when you mix this, when you use this solution. Now in this side we have this as I have said before, we have the solid organic fertilizer. These are fermented farm waste, and this is being processed through the worm. Now, this part here, these are rice straw, which I have added, but these are already fermented. This is ready for use in this Burmy bean. We call this Burmy bean because Burmy means worm, and this is the housing for this kind of special worm. Now, this Burmy bean should be mixed at least, if you can do it, once a week. And the bottom part should be put in the upper part. Now, this would require some space so that the mixing should always be easy. Now, this is another Burmy bean. And you can see that there are some seedlings on top. This is, I have to utilize this in this manner so that my seedlings would have a better growing medium. This I have used mostly are pure vermicompost. Now here, we do not mix some soil in the process because it would only make the finished product heavy, and also we will be using this in the now in this second bin. This is exposed to the sun because I am using this as seedling bed. Now this is the most convenient way to grow your seedlings, since the medium, your planting medium, is the best one, which is the vermicompost. Now, in this first part, this should be covered with tarpaulin or any plastic sheeting, preferably black, because usually the worms do not want to be exposed to light, because they are very sensitive to light. Now, these are the seedlings which I have used the pure form of the vermicompost as a starting medium. Now, I am also using this thermometer so that I could determine if the compost is becoming hot or convenient temperature for the worms. It should be in between 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, because that is the allowable temperature for the worms to survive conveniently for them. Now, thermometer is very important when you process this solid fertilizer, because temperature that rises up would affect the life of your worms. Now, in that part, that is still the farm waste are still being fermented. It should also be covered with plastic sheeting to maintain the higher temperature. And but because there was some squash that have grown, so I have to remove the cover and utilize this as a planting portion of my composting. Now, water should always be ready so that when this bin needs some watering, you have the ready water for use. And this bin should be watered, especially during the summertime. This is twice a day, morning and evening. It should be moist. These parts here, which is our vermi bin, these are there are already worms inside. Now, this bin should be covered with tarpaulin or any dark plastic cover, so that the worms could easily come out, lay their vermicast or their droppings, and they could go deep up to 1 foot or 10 inches then do their eating again. Now, these worms are very sensitive to light. So, covering the vermi bin is highly recommended. Now, there is no specific length of time when it comes to solid organic making. Now, sometimes you can produce complete fertilizer or finished fertilizer like this when your substrate or your materials are very less. But if you have more and very less worms, then it would take some time, at least 2, 3, or 4 months. But if you are already having some worms which are in 100 kilos, or you can even produce these worms in tons, then from 14 days up to some extended time, you can produce this valuable organic fertilizer. Now, you can see that there are still some worms here which survive because during the selection of this fertilizer, when you separate this finished product, you have to separate the worms so that you can transfer it to your new compost bin. Now, this it is recommended that this should not be 100% consumed by the worms, because if you let your substrate be 100% consumed by the worms, then you cannot estimate that they have still their food or they are already running out of food. So this will affect, or you may not notice that the worms, some of the worms or a greater number of worms are dying. Now, one reason that this should be consumed, something like 80 to 90%, and some solid should be remain, is when you apply this in your plants, especially if you have been using this solid form for quite a number of times, some food would be used by the worms which are already in your farm. And the worms coming here, or that goes with this fertilizer, they have still their food to eat. So, in my own experience, 100% the materials here be consumed by the worms, I found out that it is not that advisable, because the worms which are already in the farm and the worms which are here in your vermicompost, the undigested material should be, they can use this as their carry out food. Now we are here in the fermentation of this saltwater seaweeds. Now this seaweeds extract could be used to mix with your fish emulsion processing. Now, this is the filtered. Now, this is now the filtered portion or finished product of the seaweeds. Now, this is ready for use. When you apply your solid liquid fertilizer, this can be used when you drench your product. Now, here is the shredder machine. This is to shred your farm waste so that it would be easy to ferment and feed to your worms. Now these are the finished product. This is fish emulsion. This one also is a fish emulsion, filtered liquid, and this one is the fermented fruit juice. You can combine all this liquid in one application. Since these are all natural, it will not affect the composition of the other liquid fertilizer. Now, in the application of this liquid fertilizer, you can either apply this by spray, backpack spray, or the power spray if your fruit trees are already big and fruit bearing, or you can drench this around your fruit bearing trees. Drenching is mixed with water. Water should be free from chlorine, because chlorine is a chemical which would kill your microorganism. Now, rainwater or water from the river or water from deep well is the most advisable water to mix with this liquid fertilizer. Now it is up to you to apply this in such a manner that when you have too much supply of liquid fertilizer, you can use this as frequently as you wish, since there is no overdose for this, provided that it is in the diluted form. Never use this liquid fertilizer in its concentrated form, because there is some tendency to burn your the leaves or the roots, the fine roots of your plant. Always use water so that to neutralize the strength of this liquid fertilizer, and also mixing this with water free from chlorine is the best way to spread the area for which this liquid fertilizer should be applied. And I think I'm clear enough as to the organic fertilizer making is concerned. and some application.